Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be a huge book haul, the biggest book haul I have ever done. Are you ready for this? Here are all of the books that I have bought since working at Waterstones. Some of them actually I didn't buy. We have like a little bookshelf in the staff room. Some of these from there which are free to take. Publishers send us them before they're kind of proper finished, like the cover's finished, so some of the covers aren't like finished. Just wanted to say as well that before I get into this haul, I have made a post on my YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't seen it, I just wanted to let you know that I'm really sorry where some weeks I haven't posted or they've been really late. It is because where I have 2 jobs and most of the time I do really long shifts, so I don't have as much time to film and get the video edited and uploaded for like the Friday. So if I've missed a week, I'm so sorry. I just really haven't had time. I've been busy, and then if it's late, I'm really sorry about that as well. So I just wanted to make you aware of that if you're wondering where I've been. I did also make a TikTok on my TikTok account of like briefly like what the books that I've bought. So if you want to see like a quick short video as well of my book haul, you can go follow me on my TikTok. My links are always going to be up here and they're down in the description. Let's start off by the things we never leave, and it's the things we never leave unfinished, and it's by Rebecca Yarros, who also wrote Fourth Wing. Now this book seems really good. I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's basically this grandma, she is an author and she passed away while she was kind of starting to write like a love story, basically like a romance book, and her granddaughter finds the romance book that she's writing. She's going to finish it for her basically, but she kind of ends up finding out that the love story is based on her grandma's love story. So it's quite good. People say it's really emotional, made them cry, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Oh, this one I actually got free as well from the bookcase thing that was in the staff room. Next book is Girls of Summer by Katie Bishop, and this is, as you can see, this is an unfinished cover. It doesn't also have like a proper synopsis. I don't really know too much about this book, but basically, long story short, one summer and a terrible thing went wrong. So I think it's about these 2 girls that spend the summer together and then something really terrible went wrong and they try to get on with their lives, but they're keeping it a secret from other people. But you know, it's always on the back of your mind. You know what happens? Maybe they let out the secret. I don't know, but that is all I kind of briefly know about this book. But the cover is gorgeous, even though it's not finished. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this. So the next book is My Dark Romeo, and I've only just realized it's written by 2 authors, and I've read Never Never before and I loved that book, and it was written by 2 authors. It's the first time I read a book that was written by 2 authors, and this one is written by 2 authors. It's written by Parker S. Huntington and LJ Shen. I've heard so many good things about this book. So many people have talked about it. It's all over my book Instagram, all over my TikTok. Basically, this girl falls for the wrong guy. Now this is my favorite trope. I absolutely love it when like a good girl falls for the bad guy, and this bad guy wants revenge, makes her part of his game that he's got playing, but then he ends up falling for her. And that is pretty much all I know about this book, and it's so good and it's raved about a ton. Now the next book is quite cool. This is The Echo Man, and it's by Sam Holland, and she's actually a local author to me, and she signed it. Apparently she goes into the Waterstones that I work in quite often, and she just gets some of her books and she just starts signing away just whilst we're working. I haven't met her yet, but it would be very cool to. And this book sounds so good. It says on the front, he's copied the world's most evil killers, now he's ready to outdo them all. So basically there's this woman and her husband passes away, and all the police are kind of pointing their fingers at her saying she's the murderer, but she obviously knows she's not. So she kind of goes into investigation where she tries and finds out who murdered her husband, and she finds this guy who is possibly the murderer. Seems to be copying all the famous serial killers kind of ways that they kill their victims, and he's gonna outdo them all basically. That's all I know, and it sounds so good. It sounds like it's gonna be a really fast paced, gripping book, one that's really gonna get me out of a slump or something. So I'll probably read this when I'm about to go into a reading slump or something. I can imagine it will get me out of it. So this next book I've heard about a ton. Are we focused? Yeah, we are focused. It is Once Upon a Broken Heart. People say how good this book is. I think it's a series. This is by Stephanie Garber, and it's kind of a similar trope to the Dark Romeo one, where the good girl falls for the bad guy, and this bad guy has a game that he's playing. They end up falling in love together, basically. Everyone said it's so good. It says on the front, never make a deal with a fate. Okay, so it says on the back, Evangeline Fox, she's always believed in a happily ever after, until she learns that the love of her life is getting married, and her complete dreams are shattered, as you would. I think all of us girls would be. And so she's desperate to stop the wedding and heal her wounded heart. So she strikes a deal with the wicked, charismatic Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. I think that's where the love story kind of happens between them two. Sounds so good, doesn't it? So the next book is The Naturals, which is the first one in the Naturals series, and basically this sounds really interesting as well. It's a bit of a smaller book, which I quite like. So this is by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and basically there's a group of teenagers that all have some sort of magical powers. So this girl Casey, she can tell who you are and what you want, and all along she just thought this was a really cool skill that she's just got, but she finds out that actually it's kind of a power. And basically there's other teenagers out there that are just like her, and the FBI group them all up together to kill this serial killer. Doesn't that sound great? If you've ever watched Suicide Squad, it's a bit like that, although Suicide Squad they don't have magic powers, they have these skills and they are murderers themselves, I guess. But they kind of all group together to kill this really bad being. And it's just like this, and I love that. I can't wait to read this. Okay, so the next book is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, and I've heard so many things about this one. I can't get rid of it on my TikTok and book Instagram account. I'll be swiping to look at different videos every single time this book comes up, and I'm not too mad about it. Unless it's a good book, I won't be mad at it. I think it's part of a series, actually. Yeah, it's part of a series. So people describe this as basically a toxic relationship. It's a bit like Gossip Girl, but in London. Magnolia and BJ, who are 2 really popular, well-known people, and I think they've got 2 different personalities, but they are written in the stars, it says. So I think they're kind of almost like soulmates. They're meant to be together, but they just don't feel like they're meant to be together, kind of thing. I think it sounds really good, and I've just heard constant things about this one. The next 3 books I'm about to show you are all ones that I also got in the staff book box thing that's free for us to take. So this one is Guy's Girl, and this is, I don't know if this is a finished cover, but on the back, as you can see, there's not really a synopsis. It says, the unforgettable new love story that will make you cry, break your heart, and piece it back together. Now, I read that and I have no idea what it's about, and I was just like, okay, that sounds like my kind of love story book. And it says on the front, lonely boy, lost girl, could this be the love that saves them? So I've read a similar book to this. Holding Up the Universe was quite similar. So it was a boy and a girl, and they're both broken, and they managed to fall in love. They kind of get through life together. And I think that's going to be a similar thing to this one, but it sounds so good. And this is by Emma Noyes. So the next book is The Witch is Back by Sophie H. Morgan. I don't know too much about this one either. This is the unfinished kind of cover that it's got, but it's basically a witchy romance, and she ends up falling for this guy. I think he's a normal guy. I don't think he's witchy, I'm not too sure. But it's enemies to lovers. The charming golden boy meets quick-witted introvert, and I think there's some sort of curse going on. I also think this book is kind of a second chance romance. I think that this couple here, they were together, ended up breaking up, and he comes back to her, I think. And the last but definitely not least, Bad Men. So this is also an unfinished cover here, and I'm currently reading this book. I'm just over halfway through, and it is so good. I'm so glad I picked this up. So basically there's this woman, Safi, who is a serial killer, but she only kills bad men, and she ends up falling in love with this guy. He has his own crime podcast. Because of his crime podcast, he's helped solve some murders. He has been guilty of killing someone, which I don't think he has at the moment. I'm not sure if he has, but I don't think he has. So they're both working together to try and figure out who this killer is. Anyway, but Safi, she hasn't been caught yet. She still lives a normal life, but John, the guy who she loves, he doesn't know that she's a serial killer or anything. Really good. It's quite funny. It seems to be a little bit spicy. It's so fast-paced, it flows, it's gripping. Oh, and this is also written by Julie May Cohen. I love this book so far. Thank you guys so much for watching. Literally all the books that I showed you in this haul. I'm very lucky to be able to treat myself to these books, especially because some of them are free and I get a cool kind of unfinished draft version of some of these books. And obviously when I bought the books, I bought them with my own money that I worked for. I absolutely love watching booktube. I absolutely love watching book hauls, so I hope you enjoyed this video. There definitely will be more in the future, so keep a lookout for that if you are interested. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, guys. Love you lots and see you next week. Hopefully, if I'm not too busy and working too much. Blame my bosses. Love you, bye.